This is part 2, Alakal, the negative power, explained by Eve. Alakal is Adam. Is his name Adam Schiff or Alan Schiff? Whatever his name is. The guy that's doing the impeachment hearings is Cal, the negative power. So, prayer strengthens your will. And the Muslims pray 5 times a day to Allah, to Kal, the negative power. And that means they are his prey. P-R for present. P-R-E-Y, his prey. P-R for present. E for evil. Y for I. Present evil I. Their ego, their I, is evil. And I'm talking about those who are the prey of Allah, of cows. He gets them to kill themselves, to strap bombs on themselves, bombshells. B, O for order, M for Michelle, B for birdsong, S for spear, H for heaven, E for energy, L for will, T for thinking, E for energy, R for her, and S for savior. B, order, a Michelle birdsong, spear, heaven, Eve energy. Will's the thinking energy of her savior. Eve Radhaswami, Lord of the soul. A for V for victorious. Positive, pleasant for I. O for order. And R for her. A victorious pleasure, a victorious positive pleasure ordered her. Eve. Eve's will has been free. She now has free will. She's not on the wavelength of the negative nor the positive power. She's a creative power. Okay, now I'll just finish saying these words in a sentence. The sentence is what it is you have to go through. Just like when a judge gives a convicted person the sentence he must endure in prison. Okay, your words, your sentences are binding, one way or the other. They matter. Your thoughts matter. Okay? Cal, Allah, Alan Schiff is negative power. He's below the conscious power. Oh, I didn't finish this. She's free to do her own logical thinking with talk and share to control her emotions and keep her present, keep her in the present time. Okay. Now, Kal, Allah, Alan Schiff is negative power. God, Jesus Christ, Govinda Singh Dhillon is the positive power. Conscious power. If you are conscious, you are on the wavelength of good God, Christ. Wavelength. Attention span. Ad for ad, Z for 10, T-E-N, the energy enter. The energy enter. N for enter, T for talk, I for pleasure, O for ordered, N for enter. This sentence is long. Okay, so after energy enter, talk, pleasure, ordered, enter. Special. Okay, so did you get this? The attention span. You're at the energy enter of talk. You enter into talk with your attention. You listen to the talk, okay? And that's pleasure, ordered. You'll enter because the person you're listening to receives pleasure from your listening to them, for you're entering their talk, for you're entering their train of thought. Special plan. AN for Angel Michelle's Talk and Share Therapy. That's what that is, what I just explained. The Her Attention Pay Therapy. He or her pay attention. They follow the talker's train of thought and repeat what they say. They'll comprehend the talker will comprehend what's in their mind and be able to move on with certainty, with clarity, with understanding. If they don't understand what's in their mind, it stays in their mind for them to work on in their unconscious to try to figure it out. So the more unanswered, unresolved things in their minds, the more preoccupied they are, and the less they can be present in the moment. Talk and Share relieves all that, so they can understand their experiences and move on and be present in the moment. You see? That's Talk and Share Therapy, and that's also love. To get on someone's wavelength, to follow their train of thought, is love. Cal Allah gets his prey to strap bombs on their children and send them to kill themselves. Talking about suicide bombers. Bomb, be order of the Muslims. Bomb themselves. The order of Muslims bomb themselves. Because he's the patron of death. Allah Kal is the patron of death, right? He's the opposite of God, Jesus Christ, who if you follow, you will have everlasting life. Everlasting, decoded. Eve, E for Eve, R for her, L for will, A as for as, ST for strong, ST for saint, I for pleasure, N for good, N for in, and G for good, and life for life. Okay? Eve, her will, as strong as the good saint, pleasure in good life. Okay, let's read the sentence. Eve takes pleasure in the good life, and she gives you pleasure, good ideas, for the good life. Cal Allah gets his prey to behead people who don't agree with them. He gets them to take over whole cultures also. Watch video, Tucker Carlson takes on dreamers. It's on the Fox News channel. So, when you see people throwing waste on people's heads, you heard about the woman in Los Angeles, city of Lost Angels, that the homeless man threw a bucket of waste on her head, talking about feces, his feces. So when you see people throwing waste on people's heads, you know they are prey of Allah, Cal, who has hypnotized them and put waste, negativity in their heads. You give out what's in you. If you eat dead animals, for example, your feces and gas stink. That man's got negative waste, through the feces on the woman's head has got negative wasted thinking in him. So he takes the wasted thinking out of him and pours it on someone who's been taking a lot of shit from the corrupt Brown families of Brown, Pelosi, Newsom, and Feinstein in California. Did you get that? Okay. Jesus Christ, the good God, would never do anything like that. He wouldn't be corrupt like those families I mentioned, and he certainly wouldn't lead his followers. The followers of Jesus Christ would never do that. They never throw feces on anybody. They wouldn't even think to do that. I mean, it wouldn't occur to them in their wildest imaginings. So it's a battle between good and evil, as Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson has said, who was Ezekiel. He was Ezekiel the prophet. He was also the son of St. Peter. St. Peter did feel remorse for betraying Christ after a while. He did his penance. And he cleared his conscience and felt good about himself again. And became a good person again. St. Peter is my cousin, war hero, retired Lieutenant General John Hopper of Clarksville, Tennessee. Very good guy. Okay, when we are born, we know that anything is possible. So we believe what we hear while we're in our mother's womb, and we believe what we are told, sound, and what we see, light, for the first 7 years of our lives. So we're hypnotized. We are light and sound. I digress. Replacing error with truth channel. Headline is true. That's true. Oh, biblical Adam and Eve story is a lie. That's true. That's a lie. That biblical story of Adam and Eve. Note, as Eve, I know the true story, and I've told the true story to you in my writings and on my videos. They are her story, not history, and it's my autobiography. Her story is my autobiography. Okay, scientist Bruce Lipton. I'm going to put the camera on Jesus Christ. Scientist Bruce Lipton tells us we are hypnotized during the latter part of our time. We're in the womb in our first 7 years of our lives. What we take into our consciousness becomes our subconscious programming. Our subconscious beliefs. 95% of our lives are made up of us living our subconscious beliefs. The core of behavioral psychology. First thing, our beliefs dictate our thoughts. Our thoughts dictate our emotions. Our emotions dictate our actions. Our actions dictate our results. Our results confirm our beliefs. Now that felt so good for me to learn because I'm interested in knowing myself, like Socrates said. Like I said when I was Socrates, know thyself. So that's the key. Know yourself. Don't walk around a stranger to yourself. In the book Growing Up Bin Laden by his son and wife, one of his sons and one of his wives, Osama bin Laden, who reincarnated as General Patton, said the son and the wife, not General Patton didn't say it, the son and the wife said that every Muslim child is programmed around age 5 with the belief that America is evil. He said they chant death to America and such from the time they're 5 years old, and that goes in them. They believe that with all their hearts. In their subconscious minds, it stays, and they act it out. American leaders think they can give money, foreign aid to these our enemies, but that doesn't remove their subconscious beliefs that they should hate us because we are evil. The only way that I know to get around being our enemy for an Arab is to use a very strong will to stay present in the moment, to function with your conscious mind using logical thinking, or to do talk and share therapy to become aware of the emotions that are blocking clear thinking that's making up their beliefs. I think I'm going to have to do a part 3 because this is Charan Singh, Jesus Christ as a child, was made to suck his grandfather Sawan Singh's, now Michael John Spears, Lucifer's penis. 5-year-old Jesus Christ Charan Singh believed he had feces on his lips and in his mouth. That's why he always had a smile, and that's why he always spoke so sweetly. He was overcompensating for his belief that his mouth was foul. When I was married to Michael John Spear Lucifer, I could not bear his kiss. We thought it was only because my mother's husband, Kenneth Anderson, had spit what felt like a cup of spit into my mouth when I was 6 years old, and Michael spit kissed the same way. His kiss nauseated me. He would get mad at my mother's husband because he felt deprived. Michael felt deprived and blamed the husband. Talk and share. I live inside the memory in my mind, my train of thought, of believing a French kiss is a cup of spit being put into my mouth. Genius comedian Richard Pryor, who projected himself as Dave Chappelle, said black women will let you, in his words, eat their pussy, but they won't kiss you afterwards, and they won't kiss you in the mouth afterwards. That's certainly how I feel. I could never kiss anyone who had put their mouth on my vagina. It's to me like kissing a toilet. I associate down there with peeing in the toilet. His spit is like pee in my way of thinking. Is in my way of thinking that I want his kiss. I once had a dentist boyfriend of mine from Bermuda who carried a gun, lick my vagina when my period was on. I don't remember him expecting me to kiss him, however. He definitely had a thing about the mouth. He had a strange tone of voice now that I'm thinking about him. I once asked an army doctor boyfriend who had just finished licking my vagina if he didn't think that was nasty. Like Ashley Judd said, she's a nasty woman. Is she talking about her mind's train of thought, thinking her vagina's nasty? Or has she been licking or sucking somebody in Hollywood's sex genitals? G for germs, N for enter, I for if, T for touch, A for ass, will for will, and S for stink. Germs, energy, enter. If I touch ass, I will stink. Okay, that's what goes into your thinking. The mind is a slave of the senses, tells Charan Singh, Jesus Christ, Gurinder Singh to his disciples. Because most people eat meat, their feces are big. Some call them logs. The logs look like penises. So to suck a penis that your eyes tell you is like a turd is like sucking a turd. Touch your dick. T for touch, U R for your, D for dick. Milo Yiannopoulos talks about all the black dicks he's had in his mouth. He was the victim of a pedophile. Milo must have a hypnotic suggestion that the brown-black turd some man put in his mouth meant, according to his mind, Milo's train of thought. Understanding his experience, his mind trying to understand his experience, that his mouth is a toilet. Perhaps he thought, as Edwin Birdsong thought, your penis my lollipop, and I'm my mouth, your sucker. That's one of the songs he wrote after I stopped writing songs with him. I thought the title disgusting, though I didn't know why, because I hadn't given myself enough time to think it through to an understanding of what he was really saying. I see why God gave Angel Michelle a clitoris for pleasure, orgasm. All a husband has to do is gently tickle his wife's clitoris, if she wants him to, until she has an orgasm, to do his duty to give her some true pleasure. He doesn't have to lick her pee, urine, penis, sperm, present energy, her heart.